Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today we're going to be looking at the placement of the next two modulars, the Assembly Square and the Town Hall. So first of all, we've got the Assembly Square, set 10255. That's a set from 2017 and has 4002 pieces. It cost £180 or $280. Now most people agree this is a fantastic set. It's managed to squeeze 7 different locations into 1.5 standard base plates. We've got a bakery, dentist, an apartment, a florist, a photographer, a cafe, dance studio and music store. I think I've got the last two back to front. But it's got so much detail, a lot of 3D signs and a great deal going on. So there's not really much point changing this. Both sides are covered, so there's no amendments to be made on the sides. There's no boring walls to cover with a advertising hoarding. So the only changes I have made is to the fountain, which used to be quite boring with just a jet with a ball on the end. Whereas I've used some of the energy effect pieces from the sort of more modern sets in order to give it a more dynamic effect. I've also left a lot of the minifigures that came with this set in their respective shops and apartments, because I think it's important that all these buildings work on the inside as well as on the outside. So the dentist is still in the dentist's, and the dancer is still in the dance studio, the chef's still in the bakery, and so on. And I've added a few more, as you can see, with somebody having a nice cup of tea with their chihuahua, a married couple on a bench, and somebody waiting next to the bus stop, which I've removed temporarily because I wanted to have a better view of the Assembly Square. Let's put that bus stop back and have a closer look. So I've been collecting pieces to do several of these bus stops throughout the city, so they're all of the same style. And essentially they're 2 of these white curved panel pieces, which have often been used to make horse boxes, with a Lego City 4x1 panel, stickered piece and sign. And then 2 bus stop signs, one the blue one on the pole, just to show it's a bus stop, and the other one from 60097, which is the actual bus flag. And I've got a doctor waiting to go to her shift, and a man with 2 cases who looks suspiciously like a hitman, if you ask me. Also from set 60097, the town square, I've added this TV helicopter with its onboard mounted camera. I really like this helicopter. We get too many in Lego City, but this is a good one, I think, a good small one that can be on its way to report on some major happening in a city. And I've used the translucent 1x2x5 bricks again to mount that. As you can see, I've added a lot of detail and people to the pavements or sidewalks. I've added benches with waste paper bins intermittently in between the white street lamps that you get with modular sets. We've already looked at the bus stop. I've also added further traffic lights with crosswalk signs and bushes. But my favourite is creating small vignettes or little scenes that tell a tiny little story throughout the city. You can see here we've got a little girl looking for something on a bush, and we see her face magnified, which is quite good fun. We see a man who's very upset because he's dropped the ice cream off his ice cream cone. We've got an old married couple sat on a park bench. We've got 2 ladies who've had a good shop at the Grand Emporium and Casino. And we've got a little boy who's buying an ice cream from an ice cream vendor with a colourful umbrella. I've even added another advertising hoarding to the back of the Grand Emporium and Casino. I don't want to make these streets too busy because we need to have a bit of space to see everything, but it's good to have a lot of points of interest so you always notice something new when you look at the city. And the last modular on this row is the Town Hall, one of my favourite modulars. That's set 10224 from 2012. It has 2,766 pieces and cost £150 or $200. Now I've done, by contrast, quite a few changes to this building, though all won't be immediately apparent. First of all, very simply, I've added an aerial to the top of the tower just to make it look even taller. I've also changed the side a bit to remove some of the odd colouring by removing a white plate and turning it into dark orange so it matches. Goodness knows why it was white in the first place. Adding in some white bricks that were grey in the area at the centre of the front. Changing out the shield for the symbol of the town hall. Now it was this shield, both inside and out, which I do like very much, but I'm going to have the crown as the symbol of my town. So I've managed to, in a bricklink order, get a handful of the shields from the Heroic Knight from Series 9 minifigures range. And I've got one there on the crest at the centre. I've also got one inside on the lectern where a second wedding is taking place, as well as the couple who've just got married who are celebrating on the steps. I've also made some changes to the roof hatch. Now this had a dark bluish grey outline, which meant it was visible from the side as a bit of a difference, which I didn't like. And although you can't get the centre of the hatch, weirdly, in light bluish grey, you can get the outside of it. So I managed to source one of those, so it's fixed the problem from the side, and now the hatch is the darker grey, which is still visible, but that makes sense because you want to know it's different then. And I've taken the black handle off and put a dark bluish grey handle on, so it just looks a lot more sensible now. I've also added Batman and his bat signal. Now that bat signal is from the set 76044. It's pretty much unchanged from that. Batman himself is changed in that I'm really not a big fan of the skin-toned faces. So I've made Batman have a yellow face, so he's got yellow skin. Now, because they've never done a Batman with the normal Lego yellow skin tone, I've had to use the face from the Tennis Ace in Series 7 of the minifigure range. And it's quite fortunate that he's got this headband which actually acts as the white band behind the eyes of the Batman cowl, and he's got a gritted teeth face which suits it very well, so when you actually put that on, he's got the normal sort of white-eyed look with a grimace, but yellow skin now. So he can stand on the edge of the town hall next to the bat signal with his batarang looking wistful. Now, the exact opposite of that, I've decided to keep deliberately the skin tone of what I'm going to call the Mayor of Brick Nottingham, this darker skin tone, because I really like the idea of her being very much into self-tanning and looking fabulous all the time, and therefore she's overdone the fake tan and is this different colour from everyone else. So I think that's quite amusing. So she can be on the banister or balustrade, balcony, waving at her voters. Now inside I've done some more changes. The changes to the ground floor, that I've changed that lectern around a bit colour wise, and also adding the shield for the crest of this city, Brick Nottingham, to the shield with the crown on. But I'm also going to continue this tiling down, this black and white tiling in the hall, down into the main hall of the ground floor. And that's partially because I've changed the base plate from a tan base plate to a green base plate. The reason for that is so the bit that's sticking out the back will match the surrounding area and it won't look a bit odd from the rear. But that does mean that now we sort of seem to have inherited a green carpet or something on the inside. So I'm going to continue that black and white check tiling down throughout. And you can see I've got a few of them in already from my collection, but I'm going to have to add those to my list for a bricks and pieces order from Lego to fill in the rest, because I'm going to need some of the new triangular pieces, one in black and one in white, for example. So here you can see that green base plate from the back of the town hall being seamless with the green base plates all around. So I think that was worth the changeover. Also, you can see that I've introduced a yellow fence just to keep minifigures who've exited either of these two buildings from straying too far onto the railway tracks. Now finally, a tree with blossom. We want to make sure that every corner of the Lego city is interesting. So if something's cut off a bit or isolated, then it's a good excuse to put something big and attractive that otherwise might get in the way. So I've decided to put a large tree in here, well, medium-sized tree. I've just got a pretty standard base which is just made out of slope pieces in dark bluish grey and some green base plate. Doesn't really have to be that amazing, and it's a pretty standard tree construct, being mainly two round brown bricks with limb pieces attached to that, and then 1 by 1 round pink plates for the blossom intermittently. But I think it adds a lot of brightness. It's going to take away from a pretty blank wall, and it's not going to get in the way of the tram at all, so it's a really good addition. So I've brought the top floor of the town hall down to the building desk just to show you a couple more things in more detail. Firstly, I've added some bricks with studs on the side here in order to support another advertising hoarding, because this is a very long uninterrupted side of a building. It doesn't have any windows or anything else like that of interest, and it will actually be facing out into the room. So I've created a VIP advertising hoarding, which is obviously based on the VIP set 40178 from 2017. It was given away free with orders over a certain amount. I've just added the sort of glitzy outer row, and that will be fit onto there, but actually staggered between the floors so it looks a bit more well spaced. Obviously, as you can see, as you can imagine, if I just put that on there, it takes a good shove. There we go. It's going to look pretty good. So, the second point, if I take off the roof and put it to one side, is that I have extended the boardroom table, and the boardroom has been rented out to the supervillains. Now, on this extended boardroom table, headed by the boss of the supervillains, Antimatter, who is bent on world domination. He's brought his globe with him just to stress that point, and he's got all his henchmen, well, not all of them. I'm missing 2, and one's going to be used somewhere else, I think, mainly because it's about the maximum I can fit around this table, but nonetheless, the majority of his henchmen are here. So you can see there's Drillex and Retox, who I got in that Lego order recently, the brick haul. We've got Toxikita, Spyclops, Inferno, Invisible, Tremor, Adamacid, and Cyclone, who still hasn't even taken off his large whirly jetpack thing before sitting down at the table. So let's look at each of them in turn. Here is Adam Acid, who I really like because he's got this trans green head, but it's also got part of the sort of yellow face on there where the acid obviously hasn't melted it away as a print, and I think that's really quite clever. One of his arms is green and there's a bit of yellow at the neck and so on. So he's really interesting. And there's Inferno, who basically has flamethrowers out of these things and is looking a bit hot under the collar. Then we've got Spyclops, who, well, he's got that third eye there. I think he's a master spy for the organisation. He's got the spider as his logo. I think he has little spiders that go out and do his bidding, mechanical spiders. We saw Retox by way of the last brick haul. Antimatter, can I get him out without breaking his chair? No, is the short answer. Broke his chair twice, left all the feet behind, but nonetheless, let's rebuild that. There we are. So there's Antimatter. He's got a glow-in-the-dark face underneath that hood, and he's got a lot of really fantastic printing and this great big staff. And obviously he's in the big boss chair, so that's really good. I had to extend this board table by 4 plates in order to fit enough people around it. Then we've got Drillex, who is also part of that order. It's not my favourite, but you know, get as many as you can. See if I can squeeze him back into position. Yes. Toxikita seems to be the only girl present. She's got a very interesting face print, all sort of mottled with green bits. Sort of suggestion of a biohazard or something. We've got Invisible, who's very fun. He's kind of like the Invisible Man. He's got a trans clear head, just with some gold sunglasses on and a gold medallion and a sharp suit and a big hat. So he's rather fun. Put him back. Tremor, who is massive with these huge fists. He drives this hilarious tank thing that's just got huge punching hands on it and sort of smashes through walls. So yeah, I bet he's a good conversationalist. And he's dropped his fist. Oh, he's dropped his fist on the floor. I want him to have one of these fists on the table so it can be seen. There we go. And then largest but not least is Cyclone, who's got this sort of angled jetpack thing with 2 whirling blades on it, and arguably the best pilot helmet ever. At the other end of the table, can only just fit in width-wise because of the windows. Push the table back down, and I think we're back. So, ooh. So there is the meeting about world domination, and they've got the meeting room until 4 PM when the mayor needs it back. Very good. So if we put the lid back on that, we should be able to still reach this quite easily when this is in position in the Lego room, so we can see how that boardroom meeting is going as we develop the city further. Well, thanks for watching. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome Lego videos. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, we'll be filling in the final spot on our first street. See you next time.